Hello and welcome to the Life as a Fitness Instructor podcast. My name is Lorna Marie and I'm your host. I'm a fitness presenter, brand creator of Yogascape, fitness instructor and wife and dog mum to little Harvey. Through this podcast, I really want to inspire and share tips and tricks and really be that friend in your headphones or your earbuds that I feel I never really had in the industry until now. So I'm trying to share as much of my passion with you as I possibly can so you can learn from me and everyone else who I interview on this podcast from their years of experience in the industry. If you enjoy this podcast and you get value from it, please do like, subscribe and share on your socials so we can help other people in this incredible industry where we get to change lives, but one that can also be really quite tough at times too. Let's support one another and lift each other up. I hope you enjoy this episode. Welcome to the Life as a Fitness Instructor podcast, Sam. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you, Lorna?
I'm really good, thank you. Yeah, I'm really buzzing actually because we were just talking about all the different fitness festivals and what's going to be coming up. So I feel very excited after that conversation. But anyway, less about me and more about you. Could you tell our listeners who you are and maybe a little bit about IncluSeat and what that is?
Yes, so I'm Sam. I've been in the industry 11 years this year. So I first qualified 11 years ago nearly, and so I had a different route into the industry because I have cerebral palsy, and had I got into doing fitness classes because I always wanted to dance when I was younger, but no dance school would take me. So when Zumba came out, I obviously got into it. And I started doing body balance before that because my CP was getting stiffer, I was getting more pain. The doctor told me to start exercising and do Pilates, but I couldn't find any Pilates near me. It's all Les Mills and body balance. So I started doing that, which helped. But then Zumba came out and I was like, yes, I can finally dance. And I went with my mum. I loved it. My mum didn't. So I carried on doing it. And about 12 years, 12, 13 years ago, I cracked a bone in my shoulder joint. Through the physio, the physio, even after 6 months, I struggled to even lift the arm. Like, I could lift it to here, but I couldn't even lift it upwards. The physio said that I could actually get in the gym and work with my PT, which I did. And within 2 weeks, I was like, arm up here, both arms are straight up, which I couldn't do for 6 months previous. And I saw that my NCP was actually improving. I was walking better, further. I was falling over less. My posture was starting to improve. I had more energy, less fatigue. So I actually saw the benefits of exercise on not just my own shoulder rehab, but on my own CP.
Yeah.
And then one day I was in the gym with my PT and he said, have you ever thought about doing this as a job? I said, well, I did want to do a shoot at the Zumba training like a few years ago, but those around me kept saying I couldn't do it because of my CP. And he goes, no, you'll be really good at it. You should train. And I said, well, what qualifications do I need? So he said that I would need like the level 2, like at the time I was in the gym, he said gym. Then he said about the disability qualification if I were to work with disabled clients. So I went home, I googled it, and up came instructability, and instructability was set up by Aspire charity, the spinal cord charity in London, and I was reading all this information saying that they offer like free training to disabled people to get them working in the industry. I thought, oh, this sounds too good to be true. Thinking that it's like some sort of scam. So I went in the gym, I checked it out, and the gym manager said, no, that's real. You know, it's kosher. You know, she should apply for it because it had a 3-month work placement in the gym afterwards, and she said you can do that here. Just put my name down, it's fine. So I did, I applied, and then about 6 o'clock one morning, about 3 months later, I had a text waking me up in the morning, inviting me to do an interview for the course. So I went to Guildford, did the interview, got onto the course, and then 8 weeks later, I was a qualified gym instructor.
Wow.
Yeah, and then
That's
about
amazing.
just after that, we did I did my level three disability qualification. Then I did the 3 months work placement. I then was taken on after the 3 months work placement as a casual for the local council, and then I stayed in that job for 10 years. Literally, I stayed working for them for 10 years, and so yeah, it's. But I also set up my own business, IncluSeat. So, as a disabled person, I was always the only disabled person in the fitness class. Regardless of whatever class it was, I was the only disabled person, or I was told to go to a specialist class, but they were geared toward those with like a learning disability that couldn't keep up with the mainstream fitness
Yeah.
class. And I've noticed that there wasn't anything geared towards those with physical disabilities who have like the same IQ as everyone else. They work, they live their life normally. It's just that their body works slightly differently. And I saw a completely once I qualified, I saw a completely different side of the industry where I thought it was completely accessible, but once you're inside the industry and you look, it was completely inaccessible. So that's why I set up IncluSeat. So all my classes are for everyone. I went on to do all my qualifications so that I'm insured and qualified to work with those with like any health condition, disability, neurological conditions, so that I knew that I was suitably qualified and insured to work with everyone, because that's really important to me that I have the right qualifications in place. And that's when my baby was born.
Oh, that's such an incredible story. And there must have been so much going through your mind, so much doubt as well when you first started. Like you said, oh, I thought it was all a scam. And then from there, it seemed like it just took off. And can you kind of explain a little bit of what was going through your mind then?
I think the gym side was like easy because the gym side I felt in some ways I felt the gym was a bit more accessible than the classes. I did my ETM and I did my ETM with Ian Baker. I think a lot of people know Ian Baker. He's like he works with Anna
Yeah.
and he's a great step, and he's absolutely hilarious and literally he didn't really phase at all with me in the training, but he did have to think about certain things like how I'm gonna adapt, like how would I adapt it for me. But he was great, and but it was once I was covering classes, and I would have people come in and walk out because they didn't realise that I was an instructor. And when you know what it's like, the first new in the industry, it's like your first couple of years, and you take that to heart. You honestly
Mm.
take it personally. And then I was thinking, is it because of my disability? Do they not understand that I could teach you perfectly good class, regardless of what I look like or what, what my actual body does? Because it's not always what I'm doing; it's what I'm saying that matters. And but once that is hard, I think ended up only covering for certain instructors because I knew that their ladies would actually like accept me and welcome me with open arms. And even when I did my own community classes, even back about 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago, I remember I had I did a class and I hired a pub function room, and I had everyone come to there be like able non-disabled people with learning disabilities, physical disabilities. So it's everyone in the class. It's what I call a truly accessible mainstream class. This is how it should be. I had two new ladies walked in, and as soon as they saw these girls walking with learning disability, they walked out. And I just thought, how could we be so narrow-minded?
Mm.
Because everyone's got a right to be at a fitness class. Why should they not have a right? They're human beings. They are allowed to have a life like we are. It's just that they can't help it that they were born slightly differently and think slightly differently. They enjoy dancing. They enjoy coming to cover size. So why should they not do it? You
Exactly.
know? And that again, I think back in like 2017, 18, I was like, my God, we're in this era, and there's still viewpoints like that, and there still is even to today. There's people that still have this viewpoint, like disabled people shouldn't be seen, and but really it's about integrating them into everything. And why should there be a separate class for disabled people? That's not how it should be. It should be that everyone is integrated into one, so that so that everyone learns off everyone and learns about everything in life, and not
Exactly.
have that narrow-minded viewpoint.
I mean, that's what group fitness is all about. It's bringing everybody together to move our bodies together. So we're
Yeah,
encouraging each other, we're supporting each other through an exercise class and working at our own pace.
yeah,
Like any good instructor will give different options. Say, if you want to do this, you can do that. But of course, listen to your body. If that's not right for you, you don't have to do it. Whether you're disabled or not, or whether it's your first fitness class you've ever done, or if it's your 59 millionth fitness class, we should all be allowed to move together and encourage each other. Otherwise, you just do it on your own, right?
yeah,
So I totally
absolutely.
agree. It should be inclusive. Every class should be inclusive. Why not? That's what group exercise is all about. You must have built up a serious level of resilience, Sam. Even just from that one small story there. That's
Your
you
skin,
could
I
take it.
think every year my skin's got, as I say, you've got to have a thick skin to work in that industry. Like, all instructors say you do, all experienced instructors have a thick skin, so I say, because we built it up. But I think every year I built mine up more and more.
Yeah.
And I still get it now. Even I sometimes still get it when I like went into teach at events, and you still get a knock box, not back then. So, and even then you think, is it because I'm disabled? Is it because of my CP? And you know, and it's like, oh, they say, oh, we've got another shooter class. But yeah, mine's completely different. And why not have one with a disabled instructor to make you look more accessible, your event look more accessible? Because otherwise, it makes it look like you're not accessible, which goes against the Accessibility Equality Act.
Mm.
Because under the Equality Act, there is an accessibility part of it. So they are technically breaking that if they do not seem to be accessible.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, I'd love to know, and I think it's so important what you're doing, by the way. I think it's absolutely phenomenal. I would love to know how you you keep going through these setbacks. How do you how do you stay so strong mentally and keep pushing through and fighting through to get inclusive
I,
out there?
I, I've been brought up that no is not an option. I've been brought up that everything's an option, so I always find a way to do something, and I think I'm very much like that with my business. So I'm always, if someone sets me like this in a knockback, I'll go out and prove them. If they say, oh no, we've got another seated class, I'll go and prove to you that my class is better. And that's my attitude. That's how I've been brought up. That's the attitude that I've been brought up with having a disability, and that is what I use for my business. I sort of think, I can show you that my class is the best, or my brand is the best, or my brand is better than you think it is, and that's what drives me.
Yeah. It's a great business mindset to have though, isn't it?
Yeah,
No is not an answer. And actually, if you say no, well, I'm just going to figure out a way anyway. Everything is figure outable. You just
and yeah,
gotta believe in yourself.
it is. And I think if you don't want me, another friend will want me,
Yeah.
and that's how I think. So, and I always remember those that say no to me. I will always, it always sticks in your head, I think it's like when I cover classes and I had people walk out, or I had cover instructors say, I don't want you to cover my class. They've always stuck in my head and I know exactly who it is. Or like locally, a lot of local instructors don't ask me to take part in dance-a-thons, zumba-thons, whatever. And I always remember that, but I also don't go to them. If I'm not asked to do it, I won't go and support it. That's my way. That's my way of saying, if you don't ask me, I'm not going to support it. So that's just my way of dealing with it, basically. But I don't think they all realise that it comes across as quite negative on them when they don't invite like the disabled instructor to take part
Yeah.
in that. But I just have this. As a disabled person, all disabled people have like a level, and you have to like all the negatives that we face every day and what we had to go through, like life is more expensive for us anyway. We have more. We had to like for example, it take me longer to get dressed in the morning than for you. It takes you longer to get going. And for me to do a qualification, you could do it in a month. It'll take me 6 months. So it everything takes a lot longer because of our disabilities. And yeah, you've got people out there that's probably discriminating, but they don't even know they're discriminating. It's sort of un, unconscious discrimination because they don't realise they're doing so. But they don't see that they are.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's why it's so important that, you're really pushing for what you're doing
Yeah.
and getting your voice heard. And so that leads us quite nicely on to, as fitness instructors then, what are a couple of pointers that we could take from this to make our classes more inclusive? Just maybe two or three basic points that we could start off with.
So if you have disabled people come to class, don't freak out, don't panic. You talk to them like you would anyone else. If you had an older adult, they had a hip replacement, you talk to them and ask them loads of questions. Then a disabled person walks to class, but you ask them the same questions. It's not rocket science. And if you just have one disabled person come up to you, you're allowed to have them. It's against the Equality Act for you to turn it away. Normally, insurance is okay if it's just one in class. The insurance changes when it becomes a more specialist class or a specialist PT session. But if it's just one person coming up, you can't turn away. Just talk to them, ask them how they can move, ask if they want a chair or if they need to stand at the back or if they need to stand at the front or the side. Do they need to take extra breaks? Can they turn? Can they move in the same way as everyone else? Because everything can be adapted. And you saw me at Ripley. I couldn't do it stood up this year because of my back, but I did it all sat down, and I was doing it exactly the same moves but sat
Yeah.
down. And I think sometimes a lot of instructors can take it up, but they can't bring it down. And actually, if they put themselves into that position of sitting on a chair and doing the class on the chair themselves, then they'll see how adaptable it actually is and how easy it is to adapt. And it's that level. Remember, it's not about taking it up all the time. You can bring it down to meet certain people. And actually, if you bring it down, you might find that if you've got older adults in your class, they might prefer that as well because they might come to your class for you, but they might be struggling because you're going too quick for them and they can't keep up. But they don't want to say nothing because they're too embarrassed to say. So again, a good instructor would offer all the options, but start off with a low impact first, then build up to the high impact. So a lot of instructors will do the high impact option first,
Mm.
then the low impact, whereas it should be the other way around, so that if you have got people coming in, they'll do the lower impact first, and then you show you take them up. But
Yeah.
if you've got regulars there, like in my class, I'll just say, if you want to do the high impact option now, do it. But I'll be demonstrating the lower impact option for any new ones or ones that need the lower impact option. Because we know as instructors, if we start doing a high impact option, they all start doing a high impact option because they all think that's what they've got to do, and they'll push themselves. So it's just making sure your teaching styles meet the needs of the actual class, not yourself as an instructor.
That's such an interesting point because that is so true. We all do that. They're right, we're running on the spot or we're jumping. And if you want an option or a loan platform, then you can march. Whereas in actual fact, a lot of people want to build up to that. And immediately you almost set it up as like a failure, whereas it isn't. Everyone's moving and everyone's pushing themselves
Yeah.
at their own level. But if you start off with the high impact and then drop down, quite often that can make people feel like they're not doing enough when actually
It's like
they really are for their bodies.
it's like if you do a plank, you would take a start off on your knees and your hands down.
Mm.
If you start off with a full plank, half of people go,
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you start off with a lower impact and you build it up. The same for standing. But for standing, people do it the other way around. They will go, I like to do a full on sprint, but they forget about the march.
It's
And
so
then
true. It is though, isn't it? Yeah, yeah. That's really, really good point. And thank you for those tips. That's very useful. It really is. And could you tell us a bit more about IncluseFit then, Sam? Because I know you said there's different formats, because we were talking about how you're trying to bring different formats to fitness festivals. So could you explain to us what IncluseFit is all about, or a bit about the formats?
Yes, inclusive fit is mainly the head. You know, you've got like a big like the potato at the top.
Yeah.
It sort of sits at the top. So inclusive fit is me. It's my local classes that I teach, or my online classes and my PT. And then off that, I've got two other streams. So I've got my neuro hit class, which is designed for those with disabilities, neuro conditions, and long-term health conditions. So it's an interval class. So it's ideal for beginners because it's though it's called hit, it's more like lit because you know. But neuro hit sounded quite nice. That's why I called it neuro hit. I don't
Oh,
know,
that's
ring
great.
to it.
Yeah.
And it's an interval class which can be done seated or standing. So regardless of that disabled person or that person with a condition, I've got some people that do it 50-50. So they do part of it stood up, part of it sat down, depending on what exercises I'm doing in that round. And it incorporates cardio, strength training, bit of flexibility. If they can cope with mobility, I'll put that in, but it depends who I got present on the class.
Yeah.
And it is literally half an hour of a quick burst interval exercise where I do either 40, 20, 50, 10 or cardio assist type training methods. And I just do it to proper music from, so if I'm online, I use Pro Energy Go, but if I'm face to face, I use MX music and it's all programmed in. So then I do it so that depending on what, if it's a normal class, I know what conditions I got. So at the moment, I've got quite a mix of neuro conditions, so I do what is good for neuro conditions basically. So I do what is suitable for that day in front of me basically. Um, but it's a good little class. A lot of the ladies that have done it and guys that have done it have all seen improvements in their conditions. They're just coming once a week, which is great. The feedback is great. They absolutely love it. Some have come on to do PT with me as well, which is great.
Oh,
And so that's my neuro hit stream. And I got the other stream, which you know of, which is IncluSeat. So it's my seated exercise class. So I when I started teaching seated exercise, I noticed that a lot of seated classes were aimed at older adults, quite slow, quite boring, and they didn't attract those younger people with disabilities or health conditions that wanted a good full-on class, like a standing class but seated. They want to still have a workout. They don't need it 10 times slower because they're younger. Because they went to a shooter class, it'd be full of 80-year-olds and it'd be going like so slow with like really music that they don't really like, it's not their era of music at all.
mm.
It'd be like Lynn type music and they're like, what is this? Or it had standing elements and some of them can't do standing elements. So I designed IncluSeat, so it's got different elements to the class. So we've got like cardio, which could be dance or boxing. We do strength and balance with a band, so it's all seated. And then we either do like Pilates or we do like ball games. Sometimes I've been the staff sim as well. So we do sing movements of the staff. So yeah, it's got different elements to it. And so I've been bringing that out to events. Yeah, I did it at Alton Towers this year, which is great. And all the feedback was brilliant. A lot of the ladies had health conditions themselves, and they all said actually it's the one class where it can be adapted. So you could take it up. If you want to take it up, you could take it down. And one of the ladies said it's the first time she sweated and not being in pain. And for
Oh,
me, that you can't get feedback like that. So, she said every time she did a class, she'll push through the pain, and you shouldn't have to push through the pain to have a good workout. You should have a good workout and not be in pain, and that's why I created it basically.
that
Yeah,
sounds absolutely
I'm
brilliant.
slowly working on it behind the scenes, trying to bring it out there for instructors. But as you know, Lorna, it takes a lot of hard work to bring a brand out.
Yes. A lot of hard work, a lot of sleepless nights, no weekends, no life. But we do it because we love it and we can see just how it helps so many people.
Yeah.
And what you're doing is incredible. And actually, what you didn't mention there was that everyone loved it so much that they asked for you to do another one the next day, didn't they?
They did, yeah. She, as soon as I finished class, they said, "Oh, can you do the class tomorrow?" And I was like, "No way. We want a class tomorrow morning." And I kept saying, "Well, ask Mark for it. 'Cause Mark organises it down." So I kept saying, "You've got to speak to Mark because he's the one organising it, not me." Yeah, and I took that as a big compliment actually. The fact that straight away they wanted to do another one because they had so much fun doing it as well.
That is a
Yeah.
huge compliment. Yeah,
I sort of
compliment.
I try and put music in that covers all ages because I do have people of all like I teach it on a Friday morning and I've got a 27-year-old and 8-year-old to do the same class. So literally I put music in from all eras and I think that's what people like because if they're older they get their old music but they still like the newer music. Then I've got the younger ones that like the newer music but they appreciate the older music as well.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's really good. And do you do the same tracks as well, week on week, so everyone can get to learn the music and sing along and yeah, really
Yeah,
connect?
see, when you're working with people with health conditions and disabilities, you need to keep them in for at least 4 to 5 months
Yeah.
because they need. If I brought one in like every month, their bodies wouldn't have time to learn it or get used to it. So
Mm.
it takes them a good 4 to 6 weeks to actually remember and learn one routine. And once they get it, then they can push a little bit harder every week.
Yeah.
So, and also a lot of they don't like change too much. So if I brought one in like too quickly, it'll drive them away. So I sort of bring a new one in like every 2 or 3 months so that they can learn it and that. And I try and like how do I put it? I try and do it so that if I can see that they're getting bored of a track, I take that one out.
Yeah.
You know when your ladies are getting bored of a track.
Yeah, it's like when, well, with anything, like even if you teach Zumba, you know, everyone likes their favorites and they like the ones that they know and they can sing along to. No one likes change or no one likes the new track, not at least for the first 2 weeks. And then everyone loves it and that becomes the new old one. And yeah, I know exactly
Then
what you
they
mean.
soon forget the old one because they forget about it. Get a new one.
Yeah. But it's also nice to keep the same routines because then everyone can actually feel and see their own progress as the months
Yeah.
go on, and maybe even see themselves doing things that they couldn't do when you first brought that track out, and now they can. So it's a very rewarding
And I
feeling.
think also if you keep changing tracks over time, they're not gonna enjoy the class as much because they're too busy. What am I doing? What am I doing? What's that? What's that move? And
Yeah.
they can do know a track. They can just do it without even hearing you or looking at you because they know the routine. So they can put that all into it and push every week to do it a little bit better or go a bit deeper into that actual track, regardless of whatever track it is to get more out of it in the long run.
Yeah, definitely. So, thank you for explaining everything about that, by the way. I feel like it sounds amazing. What you've done is incredible because you've seen a gap there in the market, something that's been not being delivered at the moment, like for young people who need a class that is a little bit faster, that is for everything. Like you do strength with bands, you're doing a bit of Pilates, a bit of mobility work there, you're lifting the heart rate. So where do you see yourself and IncluSeat in the future? Where do you want to take this? What's your dream?
My dream is to make the actual industry fully accessible, fully inclusive. I got to see every brand qualified to teach you that like you like yourself doing like the disability I can't speak now, the disability qualifications so that once you're on stage presenting
Mm,
events, you know if you've got a disabled person coming in, you're fully qualified to work with that person.
yeah,
You know, and just encouraging all your instructors to work with disabled people, not to ignore them because actually for a lot of disabilities, a lot of health conditions, exercise is now being prescribed by GPs and we need to make sure that we understand all those health conditions, the disabilities, the counter contradictions to exercise. So it's making sure that everyone's on board of making it fully accessible, fully inclusive. You know, making sure they're fully insured to work with that person with disability. We know insurance is important, and fact is that one day I would like to see more disabled people go to events as well, because at the moment you don't see that many. You might see some that have become like developed health conditions later on in life, but you don't actually see many disabled people like myself that have had it from birth at events. So actually it'd be a nice turnaround to see these weekends away having more disabled people and more physically those that have got a physical disability as well, because you don't see many walk up with a physical disability, and it'd be nice to see it across the board, more instructors, more disabled instructors presenting at events. It shouldn't be, oh, you've got a disability, you can't present. It should be giving everyone the same opportunities,
Yeah.
you know, and making sure that the actual industry is seen to be accessible, it is seen to be disability friendly, and doing everything it can to encourage disabled people to work in it, take part in it, regardless if it's a gym session, classes, community class, whatever, a fitness event, every disabled person's got a right to work out. And at the moment, 76% of disabled people are not being active when they want to be active, and that's a huge percentage.
That's massive. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's that's pretty devastating to hear actually. And they feel
yeah.
like they can't, or they don't have the confidence, or
It's
sometimes
just
even gym operators not having the confidence to know what to do. So it's not that they don't want them to, but they don't have the qualifications or the know-how to know what to do.
or
So I
some,
think,
I know some go, oh, we don't have disabled people come in. But how do you not know they don't want to come in because your website's inaccessible, you've got no trained staff,
yeah,
your building's not accessible, so why would they come in the first place if you haven't got anything on the website? So it's these barriers that disabled people face, and the first thing a disabled person will do is look at the website. If it's nothing on the website to say how accessible it is, they won't turn up, they won't go. That's a wasted journey for them. Where they go, turn up and can't get in the building.
yeah, yeah.
They always look at the website, they'll star the website first, and then if there's no accessibility information, say about that gym, they won't go.
So it's just about getting everyone understanding more and
Yeah,
being prepared and knowing what to do and making
yeah.
sure that everyone does have equal opportunities, because it's a right, it's a human right.
It's
Um, so
just
what about you personally, Sam? What about you? Where do you want to be in the fitness industry?
so I get a lot unqualified as a tutor, and I'm just finishing my assessor's qualification. So I got to tutor more and assess more. I also want to educate more about inclusion, disability, and including everyone, and also making sure that I set up my brand, having instructors under my brand, and teaching my brand, um, and that. So yeah, so it's there is a vision there. As we know, it just takes a lot of hard work and determination. Like I've just gone self-employed, so at the moment my focus is on getting my own clients and getting money in to live off before I can finish doing all my stuff for my brand.
Yeah.
Because I can't do it without that base income living off. I need that money every month to live off before I can do that. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's important to get everything in line first. But I feel like your business is just about to explode. I feel like even though you've been in the industry for a while, you've done so much already. It's like just ready to, it's like a bubble that's ready to go boom. And
It is. It's like
yeah,
cooking a time bomb. It's just gonna
yeah,
go, and one day
yeah.
it's just gonna like boom.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's very, very exciting to hear
And it
all of
is, and
this
it is
and your
because I'm
plan.
also on a industry focus group to make the industry more inclusive as well. And we meet up like quite regularly. So with a governing body, so there is work behind the scenes that is going on. But as we know, it's just the fitness industry. Things don't happen overnight.
No.
Take time, and but there is slow, and even in the 10 years that I've been, 11 years that I've been in the industry, there's been massive changes already, and more disabled people are now qualifying mainly to be PTs. But it would be nice to make the Group X qualification more accessible to do, because currently in its current format it is quite hard for disabled people to pass and complete. So it'd be nice to make that more accessible for disabled people to do that, so they can teach group fitness classes. Because at the moment they do the PT qualification because it's easier to pass as a disabled person, whereas group ETM we all know is a hard one to pass, and at the moment it is stopping disabled people do it, but they don't finish it because they can't do the practical exam.
Yeah.
It's so complicated. So it'd be nice to change that in time to make have an adaptive version of it so disabled people can actually do it, finish it, pass it, and teach classes. Because it would be nice to have more disabled group X instructors.
It absolutely would be. Yeah, that's so important. And just before I let you go and get on with your day, Sam, because I know how busy you are, what is one piece of advice that you wish you'd have known, or something that you would just in general, a piece of advice that you'd like to share with everybody listening today?
So I often hear, especially from those with health conditions and disabilities, that they always think getting active is running a marathon, or they think it's doing a very high intensity aerobics class. But we know it's not. We know that any form of movement counts as your exercise. So when people hear the word exercise, they don't always mean you've got to go and run 24 miles or you've got to jump around for an hour. It can be any type of exercise movement, even if it's every time you go to the kettle, just do 10 squats or do 10 bicep curls. That is better than nothing. And it's getting that message across that actually any 1 minute of exercise a day is better than none. And that's what I'm trying to educate, like those with health conditions and disabilities. You don't have to do 60 minutes of exercise. 1 minute a day, that's 7 minutes across the week. And you can slowly build it up and build it up. So then you can do like a half an hour class. Then you could do a 45-minute class if you're building it up the right way slowly. So don't ever think that exercise is high impact or too complicated, or the fact you've got to have coordination to do it, because you don't need coordination to do any class. You do it your way. And I know when I start my classes, I always tell people, I don't care what way they're moving, as long as they're moving. There's this thing that people think, well, I can't come because I'm not fit enough. I can't come because I've got no coordination. And literally, you come and do it to your level. Literally, we're just guiding you to what you've got to do. You come and do it. Come and do it to your level. To it's your workout. You get what you need out of it, and that is my advice.
Such a good piece of advice. I love that. And I really like the whole, you don't need to think about the whole staircase. It's just that step in front. So you don't need to think about the 45-minute class or the half hour or the marathon. Just think about those 10 squats at the kettle. That's all you need to think about to start off with. Yeah, it's so true. Oh, it's been such a pleasure chatting to you today. Thank you so much for coming
Thank you
to
for
speak
having
to
me,
us.
Lorna.
Oh, you are so
We've
welcome.
been
We'll do
talking
it
about this
again.
for ages.
I know, we have. Be like, Sam, have you got a date yet? No, I really, really enjoyed it. Thank you. And you've shared some great tips and advice as well for instructors, and a lot of food for thought and things that we need to be thinking about in our industry and in our classes.
And also, quick one, if you work with older adults, you can easily work with disabled people because it's exactly the same format, basically.
Oh, that's really useful. Thank you. And if anyone wants to follow you or find out more information, where do they go, please?
So I got my website, which is www.inclusefit.co.uk. I'm on IncluSeat on all social media. I've also got my seated brand IncluSeat, so it's INCLUSEAT, is on social media as well, on Facebook and Instagram. So, but everything is on the main IncluSeat website. And yeah, or you can email me at sam@inclusefit.co.uk.
Perfect. Oh, thank you so much.
Thanks, pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And if you enjoyed that episode, please like, subscribe, and share us on your socials at Yogascape Official. or at Lorna Marie Fitness Official. Thank you so much for listening, and I really hope this has been a source of inspiration for you.